Hello, Durud and Shalom. Am I live? Is everything okay? Everything working? I think everything is working. All right, so let's jump right into our group call. Let's see. There's already 16 people here. My audio is okay, right? Should we? Let's just jump in. Shh. Let's see what's happening. Just jump in. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm 1 minute late. Yeah, sorry guys. Jump in.
Right.
Here's Armin. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Hey, how are you guys? Guys, did you see Sketch? Sketch was on the show. He was on the show.
I saw glimpses of it.
Yes. How did he do? Did you guys like him? He was great. I think he was great. I think he did very well. Yeah?
I'll have to.
Yeah, watch it.
I'm gonna watch. I will.
Yeah, I think he's a natural. I think he does. Yeah, like he sounds like he's been doing this for years. So I was pretty proud of him. All right. Okay. So, what? Who's modding? Oh, is Danny here or is that his ghost?
I'm here this time.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one in the chat so far.
Is it Iran related? If it's Iran related, we can start with that.
Okay, then yeah, it is Tom, and he wants to talk about Sam Harris on Trump and Iran.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
It's just a brief one. I'll post the link here. Sam Harris, is criticizing Trump, even though Sam Harris is kind of like pro-Iran war. He wishes for the war to continue. I guess what he was saying is he wants Trump to finish the job completely, but Trump hasn't necessarily done that, or at least hasn't done that yet. And he was really having a go at Trump. He was really, like he usually does. But this time, I've never heard him unload on Trump like this before. He was really unloading on him. The video is posted there, so I mean, maybe we could watch the video at some point today, tomorrow, or whatever. I don't know. So
you know what? I will. Maybe it's a good video to watch with Sketch on another show. Because I can't show it here and show it and watch it with you guys at the same time. It's actually I think that's a good idea because Sketch is more pro-Trump and Sam Harris is very anti-Trump, and they're both talking about the war against the Islamic Republic. So I think it would be I could be the person in the middle, and Sam could play Sam what he says and see how it should stop calling him Sketch. It's like Grease Monkey, right? So Grease Monkey is hard to switch now. But yeah, anyways, we'll do that. That's a great idea. Thank you for the suggestion. So guys, not the stream tomorrow, because in the stream tomorrow I'm bringing on an Iranian as my co-host. But Grease Monkey, if you're okay with it, the stream after the one tomorrow, we could do this one. We could basically spend time reviewing Sam Harris. Would you be interested in that? I didn't hear you.
I would.
Okay, so for some reason, guys, when you open your microphone, if it's short, I'm not like you have to open it and then speak longer, because if it's just for 5 seconds, we're not going to get any audio. Yeah, we're not getting any audio. So Grease Monkey, your audio is not connected. Anyways, let's go to the next person. Or does anybody want to talk about this? No, there's no choice.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
I was saying I'd love to.
Okay, fantastic.
I didn't get twos in the chat, but do you want me to talk about super chats for the benefit of your editor?
Oh yeah, we got one we did get a gift basket from Steak and Beans. Steak and Beans gave us 10 gifts for the people in the chat, membership gifts. Thank you so much, Steak and Beans. And yeah, that's a good idea, Danny. Thank you so much for doing that. And yep, so thank you, and thank you, Steak and Beans, for always buying gifts. Okay, so who's next?
Okay, and Wyatt is next about vetting the legality of what we're doing. Can you be more specific about what we're doing means?
Wyatt? And now he's quiet. Wyatt? There we go. Now he's not speaking. Wyatt?
Should I
Switch
go
your
to the next
mic.
person?
Okay, let's go to the next person.
Okay, we'll go to the next person. We will come back when you figure out the mic. Next person was Jeffrey, and he wanted to give a general sit rep.
Okay, let's do that. Let's see if his mic is working.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Here.
All right, good deal. So, general sit rep of what's like occurred from 5 p.m. yesterday to right now. Overall context regarding United States and Israeli actions vis-a-vis the Mullah regime remnants post MOU. It's very much in a fragile state. So, the MOU is misrepresented as ending major combat operation with Operation Upper Fury. The 60-day negotiation window is underway. Hormuz reopening, nuclear inspections, limits, missile curbs, Lebanon security, the rest of it. Main flashpoints is regime remnants IRGC asserting control over the Strait of Hormuz again. Israel, maintaining its understandable operations in southern Lebanon against Hezbollah. You have some of the fractured, albeit surviving leadership, or the next, the third line of leadership in the regime remnants, pursuant to their Mosaic defense doctrine. So June 24th, afternoon, evening, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu informed Trump of Iranian operation plans, but did not ask permission, which I don't blame him. He simply informed him and emphasized the self-defense necessity of those operations vis-a-vis Israeli national interests. And, I very much can appreciate that with regards to, disarming and eliminating Hezbollah. Overnight, you had Israeli drone strikes that killed 2 Hezbollah operatives in southern Lebanon, I'm not going to try and pronounce it, and a vehicle near Kafir Rahman. Artillery on Yadar outskirts, the IDF took out some Hezbollah targets and operatives. This morning, IRGC remnants warns commercial ships use only Iranian-authorized Hormuz routes or face consequences, and they have to coordinate with the regime remnants, and has rejected the U.S. Oman Southern Corridor. That's part and parcel of, say, Operation Sovereign Tide. That was like how you can move closer to the Gulf states away from the Mullah regime remnants. That's actually in violation of the MOU. Cargo vessel was hit by a projectile in the Hormuz and Gulf of Oman. The bridge was damaged, no casualties. That prompted temporary suspend to the IMO to temporarily suspend evacuation. Israeli-Lebanon talks in D.C. Rubio, Secretary of State and/or other hats. Rubio says the deal is very close. Reports it's the least productive talks, though. Given who you're dealing with, not Israel. I'm saying with the other side, right? IRGC remnants and all that. You have U.S. VP Vance notes direct U.S. IRGC Doha channel for de-escalation. CENTCOM commanders heading to Israel to sit there and kind of compare notes and all that. Italy clarifies only logistics support for U.S. no direct war involvement, which illustrates the divergence of level of support during certain certain states within the broader NATO alliance, and that's an issue, right? Although Italy has been the least obstructive of those that have obstructed. U.S. actions, so diplomatic lead rejects the the Mullah regime, Hormuz toll and control, vows to defend Gulf interests, which very much is positioning us to punish regime remnants. We maintain a military posture and presence to respond, although no new major strikes have occurred within the time frame of the analysis. Israeli actions targeted strikes in South Lebanon, drone and artillery on Hezbollah targets. Firm liberation posture in southern Lebanon. They're maintaining their presence there to kind of deter and disarm Hezbollah. Regime remnants, they've done assertive moves in the Strait of Hormuz. They're positioning for Lebanon influence, obviously, in their demanding Israeli exit, which is stupid. Hezbollah actions, largely quiet, low-profile Israeli strikes and D.C. talks, probably because every time they peek their head up, they get obliterated. So keep kicking their ass, IDF. commercial shipping and aircrafts. This is thanks out to Kat and all of her open source intelligence assessments on the nature of commercial shipping and aircraft in the region. You have a fragile reopening. That said, the IRGC remnants is trying to push for de facto control with all their bullshit testing the waters. One cargo ship was hit. Some vessels are using cautionate alternative pass near Oman, right? To, in other words, move away from, like, hug the coast away from the Iranian coast. Commercial aircraft, no major new disruptions, mass cancellations or airspace closures in the 24-hour window. Broader post-conflict caution persists, particularly when it comes to Tel Aviv and Beirut. Key statements, I'm going to circle it. I'm going to finish up with the cherry here. So Trump administration is touting the MOU progress and negotiations, claim the regime remnants agreed to high-level long-term nuclear inspections. That's disputed by Tehran. That's all because of many different issues we talked about before. We're trying to have an operational pause due to, critical munitions and all this other stuff. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu informed Trump, understandably and appreciatively, of what he's doing in southern Lebanon. Said, look, he's not going to ask permission, which I don't think he should. All actors have their own interest to pursue. So what's the overall takeaway? It's a very tense but contained, I don't want to say cold, let's say sporadically hot phase. IRGC remnants is clearly probing the boundaries, trying to see what they can get away with. Israeli defense forces are holding security lines in Lebanon, which are very much appreciated. And the United States is driving a operational pause because of broader complications. The highest near-term risk, further Hormuz incidents or Lebanon strike escalation, in other words, from Hezbollah attacking our IDF allies. The key things you probably want to watch for is IAEA inspections, Lebanon issues in Lebanon, and Hormuz traffic stability. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Sorry I went so long.
Yeah, Jeffrey, I know these briefings are good, and if you could find a way, again, I know I'm pressuring you too much. If you could simplify it and shorten it, that would be, I think, a lot more people would be able to digest it. Because remember, also, we have a lot of ESLs who are watching this, and we, like many people, are basically are able to understand around half of what you're saying. Half, okay? So, but yeah, all right. I know you're trying. I appreciate that. Okay, so who's next? Yeah,
I don't have twos in the chat, but I should say super chats for the benefit of your editor.
Yes,
super chats.
Thank you. There's no super chat right now, so let's go to. Oh no, there is a 2 in the chat. So ignore. So editor, please ignore the super chat that was just mentioned here. Okay, so go on.
Okay. Why do you put it to after I say one? Okay, fine. Monkey, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I love you, Danny. I was going to say, Jeffrey does a thing that many people in the military do. We use the language of that we operate in. So I understand what he's saying, and he's using the terms he's used to, but I can get this into Walmart American. I would love to work with you. If you give me this right before we go in, I'll help you out, and we can work together. And I can talk Walmart, and between you and me, like our power combines. Flying Eagle, bucket of water. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Okay. Only if we don't do it double the length, like once the military language and then Walmart American, like. If you could do something in the between, that would be good.
Half. It'll be half or less.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, who's next? Oh, yeah. By the way, editor, super chats here now. So cut from here. All right, who's next?
Okay. Super chat, let's go try Wyatt again.
Wyatt 1. Oh, Susie's here. Hi, Susie. Okay, go on, Wyatt.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend last night, and she jumped my shit like you wouldn't believe. Has anybody vetted to see what we're doing is legal?
What are we doing that needs to be checked that is legal?
Okay, the Neutrality Act 18 USA Code 960, conspiracy to commit an offense, 18 US Code 371.
You don't need
Logan-
you don't, why you don't need to make
Yeah.
this a number. You could just tell us what law we're violating.
Oh, okay. So let me go back there then. Okay, the Logan Act, the Foreign Agents Registration Act, and if she said if you're active military or have been active military within 10 years, you're fucked.
I don't
Yeah, that's what she
understand
told
what's being said here. Can somebody explain this to me? Monkey, do you know what's being said here? Now, Monkey, I can't hear Monkey.
Are we talking about America or are we talking about people in this group?
Americans, people in this group.
Okay, I haven't been in the military in a very long time. So it's
Okay, so you're cool.
okay. So the other thing, if we're talking about America, America hasn't had an outside vetting force since 1776.
No,
Like,
no,
no one tells us what to do.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about going to federal prison.
Okay,
No,
Jeffrey
I'm not
wants-
worried about that. Like we're giving suggestions that people are doing in every podcast. This and like there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people doing what we're doing.
Have you ever read
There's
the
people
laws?
doing exactly what we're doing on the other side, on this side, giving counter opinions, pro opinions. Everything we're doing here, number one, a lot of people are doing it. Number two, there's nothing in here that is a call to action, right? So I'm not scared.
You think a jury would agree to that?
They can come and get me.
I mean, you need lawyers to know if you're making mistakes. Because are we actually unregistered agents of the Iranian government?
Agents.
Yeah.
Wait, let Jeffrey answer. Jeffrey, go ahead.
Yeah,
So,
and Wyatt, when
I
Jeffrey
think
is
he's talking
answering, maybe
about the
mute your mic
legality of-
until you don't need to keep coming in while people are answering. But go on, Jeffrey.
Sorry. So I think he's talking about the legality of track 2 material support, particularly there's certain lines of support there's different legal gates for different types of support. So whether it's non-kinetic, lesser kinetic, or kinetic lines of effort. And that's a very apt thing. Nothing that's being said here, to the best of my knowledge, violates any of that. Indeed, that's also lecture 2 of the lecture series that will be 2 days from now. Today will be the introductory lecture. So that would point, everybody's kind of, Armin's made it a point to make sure that that's on people's mind, not the least of which is to ensure that this channel maintains its ability to act as the mouthpiece for the broader Iranian resistance.
All right. Who's
Okay,
next?
and I have another response from Halda.
Hilda.
Sorry, I had microphone issues. I'm not really too sure what the problem here is, frankly. If we're talking about Americans, we have the option of requiring our government to change, specific regulations, rules, whatever. Yeah, it may take a little bit of time, but frankly, the idea that we have militants, proxies, running all over the frickin' world with military weapons, crossing borders, basically doing whatever the hell they want to do to whomever the hell they want to do it to, including here in America. And we have our hands tied, saying that we cannot go help people in need for humanitarian reasons is a major issue. And I think this is something that absolutely should be considered, brought forward to Congress, etc., because we should have the right to form a global military unit if we wish to help for humanitarian purposes. And I think that if our government stands in our way, then we start to elect people that won't. And that's my 2 cents.
All right. Okay, Monkey.
Yes. Has anybody looked? Has anybody seen the stuff that Hassan is doing? Has anybody seen the stuff that Mehdi Hassan is doing? Like, if we're talking about material support or doing anything in favor, look at the people that are supporting the terrorists in Hamas. They're the ones who should be in legal trouble. No, let me chimp out. You know what I want to see? I want to see, like what you're suggesting that could be happening here. Why aren't they doing that to all these Hamas and Hezbollah supporting pieces of shit all over America, in their programs, in their YouTubes, in their live calls, in their live streams, all over Twitch, all over YouTube? Why are those motherfuckers not in jail? Because we're not supporting terrorists. We're not supporting killers. We're not supporting anyone that's actually militarily killed anyone. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about here. I don't know what the fuck this fucking bullshit is. We know who's out there promoting terrorism. We know who's out there talking about we know who the fucking terrorists. It's fucking Hassan Piker and all those motherfuckers that love to promote Hamas, promote acts against. Remember what they did in UK? They broke into a base, broke a lady's spine with a sledgehammer. The people supporting that, they don't got any pushback. Oh no, but we gotta watch out. We gotta get some fucking lawyers. Fuck you.
All right, that is an excellent way to wrap that up.
Wyatt wanted to respond to that, and
yes,
I like
Wyatt
how he
wants
goes
another
from
word.
angry to smiley face immediately. Okay, Wyatt.
But one thing, the police and the FBI, the CIA, most of them are left-wing extremists. They always go after right-wingers. Why did they go after the January 6 people and not Antifa when they burnt down the church? That it's the whole system's like that. And if we're going to lose, if the Democrats are going to win in November, they're going to get in power. They're going to push all kinds of stuff in Congress. And who are they going to go after? The left? No, they're going to find a scapegoat. And if you read these laws, to me, I can't see, have you ever read the Neutrality Act? It basically says if a United States citizen conspires with any foreign actors in disrupting a peace between the United States and another nation, it's a felony. Are we disrupting the peace between the United States because Trump signed that deal?
What, there is no.
Because, but legally, I mean, peace means many things. That's what I'm asking is, are we all going to get up, because, okay, come on, we're talking about drones and stuff, and I don't see how you don't see talking about drones isn't interrupting a peace. Especially if you're in court.
Let me just be clear. You think in the United States of America, American citizens talking about the Iranian people needing to be armed to be able to fight against tyranny, that is going to be something that the American government is going to arrest people for expressing that opinion?
It's not expressing the opinion, but it's helping him.
We're not
giving aid.
We're basically reporting the news. We're not helping them. We're basically, that message is coming out. We're expressing it to the world. It's news.
Okay, like
we're covering the news.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people are in prison because they didn't think they were breaking the law. But we have to do what we do.
Look, I ain't scared, bro. You want to be scared? You want to quit? Quit.
I think it's retarded to suggest that in the United States, people talking about Iranians needing to be in a country that has a Second Amendment itself, arguing for the Iranian people needing something similar, for the American government to arrest American citizens for suggesting that the Iranian people need to be able to be armed to fight against their tyranny. I think it's actually ridiculous to suggest that would be an arrestable offense. That makes absolutely.
You don't think it's a violation of the paramilitary laws?
No, I think thinking that makes somebody thinking that that's possible, like that we're arresting you for suggesting that the Iranian people need to be armed against tyranny in a country in the United States that actually its own history was basically an armed resistance against the tyrants that ruled over them. I think suggesting that that's going to happen in the United States, I mean, if that happens, you have way bigger problems. I think you have to first United States first has to turn into a tyranny before something like that could happen. So I think it's a
It's happened
ridiculous
before. I know people. You know, if you take
this has
guns
never,
across the street,
never happened before. This has never happened.
yes, it has.
No,
I know
it
people went to prison for it.
People went into prison for expressing their opinions regarding
No,
use
no,
of
you're
arms?
not understanding what I'm saying. Like, if you the laws are really up to anybody's
No, no.
interpretation. Whoever the lawyer, the
Answer
judge-
my question. Answer my question. Has anybody in the United States went to prison for expressing their opinion regarding somebody needing to get armed?
incitement.
Incitement.
You didn't be-
That's not incitement. Saying that the people have the right to be armed is not incitement. That is so. I think you don't know what you're talking about. Then, if you call that incitement.
Eugene V. Dibs went to prison just because he wanted peace.
What I don't know what
You know,
you're talking about. Say,
if
you think
if they don't
it's
if they don't like you, they can.
No, it's not like that. United States is you can't. It doesn't. Nothing works like that in the United States. If they don't like you, they're gonna come arrest you because you said that the Iranian.
Yes,
people
it does.
No, it doesn't. And you laughing while saying it doesn't make it so. That's not an argument.
No.
If I
Are
say
you an American?
if I say yes, it does, and if I say yes, it does, that doesn't actually add to the my argument. It doesn't make my argument stronger by putting a laughter behind it.
Like I said, is I just don't want you guys to go to jail because I kind of think you are.
I think you're being ridiculous and you're fear mongering by saying that. Honestly, am I?
All right.
Yeah. Let's go back to responses. Halda is next.
Well, okay. I'm going to try and be as polite as I can possibly be. Sketch, I absolutely agree with your position here. I personally think, Wyatt, that people like you are the reason we have worries like we have right now.
He's gone.
Okay. Then I'm going to talk to everybody. I think that people like Wyatt are the reasons why we have so many problems trying to be, trying to do things as Americans. It's people like Wyatt who sit there and are so fearful of speaking the truth, speaking a position, voting a position, standing up for themselves is the reason why we are seeing our rights being eliminated here in America. And I would love to hear from all the people that are actually watching this show today to know how many of them believe that we should have the right as American citizens to help with global humanitarian efforts, without these restrictions. Because really, just like what Sketch said, it is absolutely ridiculous that militants are allowed to do basically whatever the fuck they want to do, wherever the fuck they want to do it, to whoever the fuck they do it to. They're brutal terrorist monsters. And here we are just trying to simply help people become free. And we are the ones that are supposedly breaking, the law. Well, fuck that. Then let's break the law.
Well,
and change things. Okay, let me rephrase that. Let's not break the law. Let's change the law.
Yes.
Okay,
just
I'm done.
for the sake of YouTube terms of service, I just have to say we're not encouraging anybody to break the law. This is just a figure of speech. But thank you, Halda.
Okay. Jeffrey is next.
All right. So here's what these are the things he was talking about. Okay. So here's some of the laws he was talking about, to be sure. And they do indeed govern how individual citizens can assist other actors. I'll go back to the first one. I'm going to say this is a guy who is down in DC in Jan 6th. And like 99% of the people that were there.
Jeffrey, you mind on sharing that while you're speaking, because we'd rather have you on the screen instead of that.
Oh, it's sweet. I just wanted because he was very superficially citing a lot of laws. So is it true that there are specific laws that govern how Americans can support other oppressed people or that are in combat zone? Absolutely. So that being said, sharing your observation or notions on what should be done is not the same as providing material support, at least to the best of my understanding. Now, that being said, when he was like, well, a lot of people who are in these agencies are radical leftists, there is indeed an institutional shift in those agencies, and they're not all radical leftists, although the previous political appointees very much were. The new crop of people that go into those agencies, because you have to have university degrees, and universities are all but leftist only clubs. That's very true. All of them being radical left wing, and that's saying something coming from me, right? Like, no. Oh, is there an increasing amount? Yeah. Is there a shift in the institutional culture? And does that bear itself out operationally? Yeah. As far as like what I personally observed or experienced, again, as someone who went down to DC on Jan 6th, and like 99% of the people that went there didn't tear down fences, attack cops, or break into the building. Was there a disproportional focus or misuse of aid organs of national power by the incoming administration? Absolutely. Does that mean that we still shouldn't sit there and exercise our First Amendment rights or our rights as citizens, particularly in support of Iranian resistance? Absolutely not. We need to assist them. It's both in their and our interest to do so, provided we operate within the confines of the law. So, I mean, I very much appreciate the concern he shared, not so much this weird kind of Mills-Sims superficial referencing of it. Kind of like, well, we should sit there. I mean, it was a little off-putting when you're like, aren't you the guy who said we should just make a whole bunch of Liberator pistols and drop them all over fucking Iran? I mean, right? That's not a good idea. That's not a good idea, right? Not operationally or for legal reasons. Just so I don't know. I mean, not to say that you shouldn't arm Iranian resistance. We should. There, again, the lecture series I have that is independent of this show, because I mean, I want to respect armament space. The second lecture actually, no, the third lecture actually talks about all those legal gates you have to follow for those each lines of effort, non, lesser, and kinetic lines of effort. So I just kind of like was going to provide that observation there. And again, like a toolbox and a flashlight, so you can best maneuver through that minefield, at least to the best that I could help. Hopefully that helped.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Noah is next. Noah?
Thank you. I did also feel a little off-put, but also this is a international group. There are people from around the world in this group, Americans, Canadians, Israelis, and even people from inside occupied Iran itself. And we've talked about it before that they need to be armed. Even Goldie's talked about it, and you've talked about it, Armin. There's a reason why Americans here have the First Amendment, the freedom to speak and the freedom to express. And other countries have that too. I don't think we were in any trouble, whatever Wyatt was talking about. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Noah. Jose?
Wyatt's been gone since the laughter incident, but I wanted to ask him a question. What was his side of the conversation? Because if he's as enthusiastic as he is with us, with all of his suggestions that we have to calm down, then yeah, I would understand why he would be given that kind of a warning. Okay? But we don't talk like that here. We don't talk about how to hurt someone. We don't do that. Okay?
Thank you. And lastly, Neil Bunny.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I'm coming from a country where we don't have free speech. That it pains me to see somebody acting as if they're in a country where they don't actually have it. It's like you actually can speak up. There are no penalties for you. The bar for incitement is very, very high in the US. Take advantage of it. Everybody is hoping that you do. In fact, the whole world is looking at the U.S. going, "You actually have free speech. We'd love for you to exercise that right a lot more often." I mean, I can't update you. I did actually look it up just to make sure I had the years right, but to sketch or monkey, I'm not really sure. That they did actually retry the case with the Palestine Action people that used a sledgehammer on a cop and broke her back. That guy got 7 years, 8 months for grievous bodily harm, and the rest of them got 4 years, except for another one that got like 4 years, 8 months. So at least there's that. But still, we still had a woman that she was given a sentence of 2 years for a tweet that she took down after 4 hours because she thought, no, that was a little too far. A tweet that most people didn't even see or even like. And she got 2 years. I mean, they let her off early because people were fighting it, but I mean, they gave that to her. And we had a guy that was put in prison. He had a sign that I can't remember what it said. It just had a sign up, and they didn't like his sign. They put him in prison. He took his own life because they put him in prison. It disgusts me. You have freedom of speech. You can say whatever the hell you want in the USA. Do it.
Okay, I think that's everyone. Let's go to super chats.
Yeah, before I read the super chats, I just quickly want to say that when it comes to the way we talk about these things, we do have to be careful regarding not losing our platform here. So just make sure that you keep talking about what other people have, done and what has happened. But don't tell people that this is what they should do when it comes to anything like this. Because even if it's legal in the United States, it might violate TOS of the platforms that we are in. But I think people understand what I'm talking about. Also, don't even promote any books or any shows as a way to go do that. You know what I mean? Or for example, don't say like, "Oh, I'm not going to say it here. Come somewhere else. I'm going to tell you over there." The understanding would be that you're basically telling them that I'm going to, like, if it's being recorded here on YouTube or on school, the understanding is that, people who will review this, they're not dumb. They know what you're saying. So again, just express what's happening, express what could happen, or describe the news. And then people who need to get the information that they need to get from that, they will. Again, I don't want to limit what can be said here myself, but we are limited by the platforms that we're using. So just be mindful of that, right? And again, remember, yes, one last line. Again, it does, even if it's legal, it might be legal, but against TOS of the platform that we are. By the way, I wasn't saying anything against what you're, Neil Bunny. You were on point, like you were on fire. I wasn't negating you, but go on, Neil Bunny.
I just saw in the chat that Samantha wants to know what the tweet was, and my answer is it doesn't matter. It's a tweet.
Okay.
I thought you were going to tell him that Petito is here.
Yeah, and I just noticed that Petito is here, guys. Yeah, I didn't say it, but you're right, Neil Bunny. That's a completely valid response as well. So I don't know who's next, but Petito, I think if it's okay, after I read the super chats, we'll go to Petito and check with him. Is that okay, guys? I'll just quickly read the super chats because it's relevant to our conversations, and then we'll go to Petito. Justin gave us a super chat saying, "We would have to have insider knowledge of what we're talking about, Wyatt. We're just speculating." Yeah, that's a good point. And then Nina just became a member. Thank you so much, Nina. And then Justin also with another super chat saying, "Wyatt, the burden of proof would fall on the US government to show everyone on this channel directly caused incitement. Good luck with that. That's another good point. Thank you. And then Justin with another super chat saying, especially when considering incitement began before we all started talking about it here. That's another great point. Like there was already happening. This is already happening. Yeah, that's a pretty good point. And then Noah just gifted a membership to somebody in the chat. Thank you so much, Noah. I appreciate the membership gift. All right, Potipto. Hi. Oh, there we go.
Durut Patriots.
Oh my God, you have good audio and good internet. That's fantastic.
Thank
How
you.
are you doing? How are you doing? Is everything okay? Safe and healthy?
Yes, everything is just fine, and I'm so healthy and good.
Oh, fantastic. Is there anything
Thanks
that
for
you want to?
asking.
Yeah, always. Is there anything you want to update us with or share with us? And then maybe people could ask you a question.
Nothing general happens, and actually, I've mentioned earlier when I'm joining group discussion, I'll be really happy to be as equals as everyone here. So you're so kind to give me permission to talk out of order, but I'll always be happy to be equals as everyone.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Okay, guys, if you have a question for Potipto, you could put a 1 in the chat and you could address it to him and see if he wants to answer you. And also, guys, I was thinking we could, I was talking to Potipto, and Potipto could have his own segment on the calendar if people want to talk about to somebody inside Iran regarding what's happening inside Iran. Let me know if you guys would go there and talk to him. If we create a Potipto segment where he's managing it himself and you guys go talk to him and ask him questions, let me know. I think that would be a great segment to add to the calendar, right? Okay. Who's next?
Alexia put, I don't know if this is a question for Potipto. Always remember Hava Todaram. Does that mean something that I don't know?
Hava Todaram. Yes. He's saying, I have your back. That's what it is.
Oh, thank you.
That's sweet. Thank you.
Okay, then I will wait like 4 more seconds if anyone is putting a question for Potipto. Otherwise, let's move on to the next person.
It could be a 1. People could add it as a 1, and then when we get to it, we could ask it directed as to Potipto. Okay, who's next?
Okay, Cat Lady is next on the list about her birdwatching updates.
Okay. So birdwatching, for people who don't know, let's give context. Katniowski. Okay, you go ahead. You give us the context.
Okay, yeah, because most of you probably know, but not all. So I follow public military flights in the area of the Middle East, mainly in this area. You can join me, see it on my channel in real time, but I see sometimes interesting stuff and I bring it up. So from the last 24 hours, okay, so yesterday there was a supersonic jet trainer, T-38. It was circling above the Gulf of Oman for a long time, which is not something I've seen before. Then it came back to its base in Qatar. Then at the same time, the news came out that 5 South Korean ships were leaving finally the Hormuz. So I guess it was connected. Also, there was a NATO E-3 Sentry AWAC circling the Romanian shore, which is a hotspot, and that's something also I didn't see before, so I'm not sure what it means, but it's something. And I saw a C-40 Clipper, which is a military VIP transport, landing in Israel this morning, early morning. I know before that, a day before, I heard that Admiral Cooper is supposed to be visiting and like meeting with the Al-Zamir and the general here, the IDF. but today no one is reporting about it. So that's what I know. And right now I see nothing too special in the area, and that's it. And subscribe to my channel, of course.
Yes. Put the link in the
Yeah.
chat. One thing I want to one thing one thing I wanted to talk about is, and I'm going to ask both Monkey and Jeffrey if this is true. There's a lot more military activity inside, around the Persian Gulf, and a lot of people are saying like, "Oh my God, look at these, refueling tankers coming in. Oh my God, look at this and this. This might mean that something is going to happen, like something we're going to see some boom booms or something like that." But I think it's actually the opposite, because a lot of these military equipments were taken out of U.S. bases in the area, because so that they're not in harm's way. And now that you're seeing all of them coming back, I'm seeing a lot of, I think, in my opinion, wrong analysis that some people are coming up with the idea that this means that something big is about to happen soon. But I think that it's the opposite, because they feel safe to the understanding is that things are not going to get tense, and that's why it's safe to bring all of these back in those U.S. military bases. So that I think explains the recent activities that we've been seeing in the area, but I might be wrong about that.
Okay, I have a few responses. Jeffrey?
So yeah, I'll take him in stride. What the trainer that you're talking about, I didn't catch the exact model, although it very much reminded me of the last time you had very aptly pointed it out, that if it's that particular type of trainer, quite often it's used by Gulf states to do things like I don't want to say the deployment, it's more like the tactical focused version of what maybe an E3 would do, which is like it's got a big radar dish, it acts as an airborne command and control, it maintains situational awareness, all this other stuff, which is why it's flying around Romania for any number of reasons. Putin's doing stupid shit in the intermarium. There's, like we had drones hit Romania, which is a NATO state, and they're actually a very good ally, and not for nothing, Putin is trying to backfill regime remnants through the Caspian and all this other stuff. So it's that trainer is, if it's that model, it's probably, there's a reasonably high degree of probability that it's modified to do kind of like image based intelligence and radar, like tactical intelligence, right? And I'm trying to find ways I'm trying to do the best I can, Armin. Right? In any case, as far as the increase in military activity, that's true. There is heightened military air activity over near the Strait, and it's in response to regime remnants threats and the today's ship instance. So it's not brand new. It definitely intensified. What does my assessment say? It very much is in direct response to the regime remnant statements demanding ships use only Iranian authorized routes and today's projectile attack on a vessel using an alternate path. It's part of our ongoing efforts to protect commercial traffic, resuming post-MOU shipping. Also deter further Iranian probing, gather real-time intelligence on IRGC remnant compliance threats and where their stuff's at. So it definitely shows that the United States and the current administration's directive towards CENTCOM almost assuredly is very aware and acting on the fragile post-MOU reality. Would it mean that something bigger can happen? It definitely heightens and tightens our shot picture if it does. Absolutely. I mean, you know where I sit, right? You know where me and Sketch sit. We want warheads on foreheads. It would have to be long-range bombers, though, and other types of non-critical munitions, and the bad guys know that. It's also why, while I have an affinity for my country of origin, half of me anyway, Italy, and I very much love President Meloni and love her. I was a bit miffed when she said, yep, we're just going to let tankers fly out of Italy. Nope, you're either our ally or you're not. None of this half-assery, right? Like, there's a reason that you had the head of NATO come and speak to President Trump yesterday. And I like the head of NATO. Like, he's a good dude. What I'm saying is he had to explain why certain member states of NATO fucked us and didn't let us use like our air bases. And he was like, well, there's 5,000 flights. Yeah, not our heavy bombers though, which is what we needed, right? We needed to have our heavy bombers to take out targets in the Strait. Because we were denied to do that, it meant that all of our critical munitions, our burn rate on critical munitions skyrocketed. It's also why you have the operational pause and you still have some regime remnants. Had they not done that, this war would have been over like easily fucking 2 months ago. So yeah, I mean, does it signal that there's an imminent strike? No, I don't think it's there yet. It definitely leans towards that direction, and we're maintaining eyes on. So if we decide to choose to do that, and we do use heavy bombers, that they're fucked. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Cat Lady.
Yeah, I see it as a couple of things. It can be, first of all, I see it as deterrence and a way to keep the shipping moving the way America wants it. I don't see it as a striking thing at all, because you also see some aircraft who are specific to shipping security, let's call it. But the second thing is that you forget that it's almost July, and in July and August are the heightened, like the most warm month in Israel. It's the big holiday from school and all of that. We need Ben Gurion at this point. And it was also said in advance, like that this is what will happen. They will have to clear up some space because it's crazy. It's a small airport. So I don't see it as, yeah, I agree.
Thank you. And one more response from Monkey.
Yes, I also just some takes on the planes. One of them is an AWACS, and the other one was a trainer. Right? It can be a trainer, can be used for intelligence. It can be adapted for that. Definitely one of the adaptations, but it can also be used for training. So let's say you're wanting the Persian Gulf allies to have a more joint defense, because ever since the lesson America learned in I think it was 1980, going against Iran, of not having joint forces and completely changing the way we do joint operations, we would want the Gulf, Persian Gulf allies to have a more unified standard of how they operate. So these trainers and these AWACS would be talking to each other and training each other like, hey, if we talk like this, when we say this, because we did have some friendly fire incidents, and we don't want that happening. Another thing about the traffic is the traffic could also be resupply. One of the things that we were doing is resupply. And if we have to resupply all the defense and all the missiles that we use for defense and all the weaponry that we use for defense, a lot of those flights would just be like going in and out, bringing a lot of stuff, bringing a lot of missiles, bringing a lot of weaponry that we would be using for defense. So that's also an explanation. We may just be shoring up defenses and training. And that's also a possibility that I would put out there, especially AWACS and trainer jets together, in an area where we want people to work together and maybe be a little bit more unified and independent in their defense against the IRGC. It would kind of make sense to me that kind of training is going on, training them on, hey, how to work with AWACS to patrol the Strait and make sure everything's going well, that kind of stuff. This doesn't negate anything anyone else has said. This kind of just works to support the points everyone else has made.
Okay, thank you. That's all the twos. Let's move on to super chats.
All right. Okay. So Fleshy Interloper give us a super chat saying 1984. I think this was in response to what Wyatt was suggesting that could happen. And thank you, Fleshy, for the super chat. And then Steak and Beans gave us 20 membership gifts. That's a big gift basket. Thank you so much, Steak and Beans. And that's very generous. Thank you so much. 20 people are now members on the chat. 20 extra people are members because of the gift. And then Hezi, thank you so much for the super chat saying, Durud, Mr. P. This is a good time to tell you all that I got tell you all that I got a real Persian flag, even though I will probably not have a rally to show it off at. Oh, really? That is beautiful. Okay, where you could just go out and wave it outside. I mean, you are in Israel. I think it would be a good conversation started with a lot of people in Israel if you just go outside and wave it around. I think you're gonna get I think a lot of people might approach you, and it would be a good way to meet people if you go into park and just hold that. People are gonna come talk to you. Yeah, or you could put it as a decoration somewhere inside your house, it's a beautiful flag. You could put it next to your Israeli flag. I think the Israeli flag and the Iran flag go very well with each other. The colors just work so well with each other, right? I don't know. I think they complement each other very well. And thank you, Hezi. That's such a beautiful message. Appreciate that. And then Noah with a super chat. Thank you, Noah, the Persian American, saying you always do best, Jeffrey. Armin as well. Jeffrey. Noah is telling Jeffrey, you always do best. Thank you, Noah. Thank you for the super chat. And all right, so that was the super chat. Who's next?
Noah is next, and his topic is a doctoral student in Canada aiding the Islamic regime.
Yes, so this was reported on global news. I saw it on Iran International, but I went straight to the source this time. So this student called Mohammad Reza Pazassian, I know I butchered it. He's 41 years old. He was flagged by Canadian officials for his research because it was considered to, my understanding, it could be used to help the missile program in Iran. So they don't know where he is. I don't know. They don't know if he's still in Canada or if he fled back to Iran after this. But there have been concerns that the regime has sent people in the past to Western universities to learn stuff to help the missile program and maybe the nuclear program as well. So I thought this would be a good thing to bring this to your attention, Armin, and so we could all discuss this, because this is pretty, and I always say this is pretty interesting, but this is pretty interesting. So
this is a 40-year-old Iranian PhD student, Mohammad Reza. I have to see his name in Persian. I'm going to butcher it as well because it's written in English. If I see the written in Persian, I would be able to probably read it better. Mohammad Pak. I don't know what it is. So, yeah. So they're a national security threat. Officials warn his aerospace engineering studies will result in an intangible transfer of technology to advance Iran's ballistic missile and drone programs. So he is I don't know what this is. So an Iranian company. Okay, so he works at an Iranian company sanctioned by Canada for links to weapons of mass destruction. Why was he even allowed to come into the university if he was working there? His academic references in Iran are also tied to military rocket research. What the fuck? Why did you allow him to come and study all of this shit in Canada if he had all of these ties? Oh my god. He began. This is crazy. Like, you already had all of this information and you still told him, you gave him all this knowledge. He began online studies in 2023 and is currently in Canada. Oh, okay, get him then. Exact location unknown. He tried to sue the government over visa delays. What, you can do that? But a federal court judge dismissed his case on June 9, 2026. Global News broke the story on June 24th, 2026, and all parties have refused to comment. So I don't know. Should it be? I think it should be illegal for students who are from countries with governments that are hostile to the West to be able to learn these stuff. Am I being too extreme on this? I think it should be illegal. But can you actually filter for that? Let me see what other people think.
We have lots of twos in the chat. Jeffrey is first.
So this is tragically not new, right? I mean, one of the ways the Mullah regime was able to develop the ultra-hardened, ultra-high performance micro-reinforced concrete used to harden their underground nuclear facilities was with assistance out of Ukrainian, or out of, not Ukrainian, Canadian universities. My God, Slava Ukraini. You know, I actually mentioned that to Frank Gaffney back in like 2012 at CPAC, because he knew about the strategic dispersal, and we were dealing with the Mullah regime, the threat posed by the Mullah regime's nuclear program then, and all that. He didn't know about the ultra high performance concrete. I actually have that email still somewhere. So tragically, it's not new. As far as like, why did this happen? Armin, you know why, right? You have institutional capture of Western universities by a very radical leftist ideology that finds its origins in Soviet active measures that disproportionately targeted universities. They didn't just disappear or evaporate when the Soviet Union crumbled. They're still here, still doing the same stupid shit they were conditioned to do from the get-go, and their descendants are doing the same stupid shit. I mean, how do you think you had the import of the Red-Black Alliance? His Highness Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah, wonderful man that he was, sent Iranian students to Western universities unbeknownst to the fact they were hijacked by these radical left-wing freaks, and they came back conditioned with this nonsense, and they played a role in taking down the noble house of Pahlavi. Well, those fuckers are still here. Why do you think that you had hundreds of thousands of lunatics marching down the street one day, 24 hours, one day after the terrorist attack of October 7th, chanting about burning Jews in ovens and gassing them in fucking showers? That didn't just magically appear. That shit's still there. And our enemies fucking-lutely take advantage of the open, free nature of our universities, both to act as a beachhead for their strategic information influence operations and as a fucking facilitative conduit to steal any technology that they can get their grubby little fucking hands on. I mean, the FBI put out a 2011 report on this. It talked about how higher education is targeted. If I can find it, I'll share it. So yeah, man, that's tragically not uncommon. It's also why universities and education have to be liberated. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Where do you think you get most of your pushback? Where do you think the students for justice in like Transjordania, right? I'm not gonna have no such thing as Palestine. Comes from. They're a direct descendant of the Holy Land Foundation. They're all throughout our fucking universities, bro. A lot of them have organization operational ties to any number of hostile regimes that are either directly tied to or aligned with elements like the Mullah regime. I'll finish with this personal experience. So I went to a fucking panel at Syracuse, right? This is when I was doing my grad stuff there, like 2010. And it was on the issue of WikiLeaks. And, I'm like, they should have had a neoconservative there, even though I don't like Hillary Clinton. I fucking hate that bitch. And her bimbo, the clown-looking syphilitic husband. He let my buddies die at Somalia when he denied him heavy armored and AC-130 gunship support and all the rest of that shit that I don't want to go through. I'll be agita. I very much appreciated, at least superficially, the concern regarding WikiLeaks. And so there was this radical leftist professor. He's like, we should have had a neocon like you on the panel. I walked up to him. We had a discussion. We went out for chocolate coffee at Fagan's. And he asked me in no uncertain detail if he's like, how do you guys, I'm like, I don't work for the city. He's like, so he's asked me a question about his deep concern for his personal safety because he had called out the chancellor of SU at the time. Her name is Chancellor Nancy Cantor, read closet man-hating dyke. It's okay, I got my gay card. I get to say that, right? Who very much a radical female supremacist, who he himself, a Marxist. He was a fucking radical leftist. I mean, like, we didn't agree on shit, right? Absolutely called her out for how he called her a Stalinist and how she ran the university. And her response was to punish him by sending him to Iran on sabbatical. And he was terrified. He's like, what will happen? I'm like, shorthand, longhand. Shorthand, if they're gonna, the mullah regime that illegally occupies Iran is gonna show you what they want you to see and use you as an unwitting conduit to push for their disinformation here. Longhand, you see shit you're not supposed to see, they'll fucking keep you there. And they don't give a flying hobo, dick cheese, sweet and sour kung pao chicken fuck what the State Department, especially under that Obama's administration, think about it. Yeah. What's my point? My point is, tragically, in response to your question, how the fuck did they allow this asshole to come there? Because you have universities that have been captured by an ideology that views the mullah regime as their fucking ally. And they misuse their position of responsibility as one of ideological privilege to fucking operationalize their sedition. That's why.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Next response is from Jose.
And it's not just the Iranians or the Muslims coming in. The Chinese are doing the same thing, except they're getting training so they can go through customs. Okay, here's the problem. Most of the time when they come back, the people that they're going through have a full dossier of what they studied. And all they have to do is not mention a course, and they're picked up, turned around, stick on an airplane, and sent right back to China. And these people are coming over to study the technology parts, the chips, that kind of stuff. So it's being used, and it's not just by them either. I would imagine a lot of countries are doing that kind of shit because we might have the best educational system in the world. And yeah, it's being done. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of Cubans that have come in through the back door recently are doing the same thing. Who for? I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, next, Monkey.
I would also like to point out the side of the funding. These universities are funded by these outside places. I've spoken about it before. When you have billions upon billions of dollars flowing through NGOs into NGOs and colleges, the NGOs fund student groups, and the colleges get direct funding from these groups. You have an incentive. Like you want to have it, create an incentive. The incentive has been in these universities to get massive amounts. They actually don't need Pell Grants. They don't need the grants. Just off the billions that they get from the outside, that's how they get in. That's how they get these university students in. That's how they excuse them. It has a lot to do with funding. That's why we spoke about this before, that we should do what was being done with Code Pink to a whole bunch of any university that had Code Pink, study everything that they got. Not just Code Pink, because Code Pink goes into the university, but every NGO like Code Pink that went into any university should be studied, should be heavily studied. Look at their funds, do what they call discovery, look at their ties, see where go discovery into their finances. And I think you're going to find a lot of dirt. You'll find so much dirt. No, I'm about to chimp out. You people got to go. What are you doing, Department of Justice? What are you doing? Pam Bondi should have done this. Whoever is now, I hope you're doing it. I hope you keep going into Code Pink. But Code Pink has a lot of parallels. Every parallel to Code Pink should be heavily studied. Their finances should be heavily studied. It's not good enough to go into Hassan's funding. Go into who funds Code Pink. Who funds the guy that funds Code Pink? Who do these people talk to, right? Because if Hassan is talking to the Houthi pirates, Tim Houthi Charlemagne, or whatever he calls himself, and they're doing interviews and doing that kind of material support, that's just the tip of the iceberg. What I'm suspecting is Code Pink is the tip of the iceberg. Hassan, the tip of the iceberg. These people are all over, and we're just noticing the more radical ones. I bet these people have their fingers in a lot of pots. And some of those pots are material support to terrorism.
All right, thank you, Sketch. Next to reply is Halda.
Hi, all. I'm actually doing a YouTube series about this. I'm working on the introduction right now. But if you look at this particular website, that is presented by the U.S. Department of Education, you're going to see that our educational system, and not only our educational system, is heavily controlled, I suppose, if you'd like, for lack of a better word, by foreign interests. And Qatar is at the top of the list, followed by China, then Germany, then Saudi Arabia. For example, Qatar during this period donated over $8.8 billion to higher education. And we also know that Qatar heavily influences, diplomatic, aspects, including lobbyists. So this is a real issue that we need to explore and address when it comes to, American politics. And just like what I mentioned, yesterday when I was talking about how I feel that our administration right now might possibly have a puppet master, I have to question if that puppet master is indeed the Middle East, talking about like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, etc. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Halda. And then next is Noah.
Yeah, so to add on to what Jose said, China also the Chinese Communist Party funded these institutions at universities called Confucius Institutes, and they would heavily promote their ideology and stuff. And I think they're still around, to be honest, in the US, if I'm not mistaken. But also to add on as well, when I was in university, there were a lot of Iranians at my university, and a lot of them were really awesome. Now, a lot of them wanted to be free. Like they hated, being there because of the regime and stuff. Maybe some of them were, secretly working for the regime. But to close out, it is a good idea, and we need to continue doing this to filter people so that we don't catch these people into our country, into the United States.
Okay, I think that's all of the responses for this topic. Do we have super chats?
Yes, we do. Okay, so Selectivist with a super chat saying, I agree with Sam Harris on Trump, but he's inconsistent. He slams Trumpians for denying the problem, while he can't admit that Kamala was even worse. Ooh, that's actually a good point on him not admitting Kamala was worse, whatever criticism he has from Trump. That's a good, I haven't watched that video yet, but I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to look for that to see if that inconsistency. I think Sam Harris really, really, really hates President Trump. Like, he really hates him. He doesn't think anything could be as bad as President Trump. That's my understanding of what he thinks. And yeah, thank you, by the way. He has complimented him here and there, but I think that might be just to get away from the TDS accusation. I don't know, but we'll see. He did praise him for starting the attacks on the Islamic Republic. All right, and then we have Kay just became a member. Well, thank you so much, Kay, for becoming a member. Oh no, Lou and Kay. Yes, this is. Oh, I know you guys. Lou and Kay, two people, one account. Appreciate becoming a member. Welcome to our group. And then we have Shauna. Shauna, come join us in the discussion group. Shauna with the super chat. Is she here? No, she's not here. Saying, Grease Monkey, don't forget that the leftist activists, the leftist activist judges that keep blocking stuff. Monkey, Grease Monkey, don't forget that. And he's saying yes. Yeah. By the way, Grease Monkey is going to have his own segment on our YouTube channel after the me and Ali segment, after Ali segment, and he's going to be doing a lot more American politics, focus a lot more on American politics in his segment in relationship to whatever else is happening. And I would love it if we could get a UK segment. I have this person here, Neil Bunny, who I'm hoping we could convince to do that segment. But so far, I have been unable to convince her to have her own UK segment. But yeah, if we get the UK segment, then will we be complete? And thank you, Shana. And then we have Fleshy Interloper. Thank you so much for the super chat saying, no such thing as free money. These are not gifts from Qatar, PRC, etc. Exactly. These are not free gifts. They want, every time they're giving you something, you always have to ask, oh my God, what the fuck are these people getting in return? Like, and it cannot be good and it cannot be in our favor. Also, when it comes to no such thing as free money, it's also no such thing as free services. There is no such thing as free education, free healthcare. If somebody has to work for it, it's not free. And then confetti, Fleshy Interloper getting us to our goal with the confetti. Thank you so much, Fleshy Interloper. And then always supporting us. Thank you. And then Alexia with a super chat. Alexia, thank you so much. Oh, this is a question for Jeff. So Jeff, Alexia is asking a question saying, why is there a nuke pointing at Poland? And how many people know June 30th Popov is against white people? Confetti. Okay, so I think Sketchy beat you to it, but thank you. So, Jeffrey, how do you respond to that?
So I think she asked in chat with regards to North Korea. Tragically, so North Korea is, if it is North Korea, and I understand your question correctly, North Korea is very much one of the proxies of the overall it's a member of the autocratic bloc and the proxies of Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state and Chinese Communist Party. And indeed, the North Korean regime is very much heavily involved in assisting both of those regimes. Tragically, Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state is not, it's not uncommon for his Hitlerian ass to threaten to nuke Polish children. I'll never forget when, this is going to go back to the Obama administration, all these other assholes. So Poland has been an unbelievable ally for the United States, and the current administration loves them. They very much refer to them as like European Texas, right? They're hardcore. So, you know, part and parcel of a policy regarding our global missile defense system was to put specific ground-based radar inside Poland to guard against the Mueller regime threatening Europe with intermediate range and intercontinental range ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons, or weapons of mass destruction in general. So, Putin had responded and said if Poland accepts those radars inside Poland, he will retarget. He said it this way: retarget Russian H-bombs at Polish children. And Poland was like, fuck you. The U.S. is our ally, and we're going to stand with them. Like, I cannot tell you how proud I was of our Polish allies. Tragically, Obama, that was during Bush, former President George W. Bush's administration. Obama fucked him and then said, yep, gonna pull the radar on fucking Poland. Okay. And then tried to, like, in an afterthought, say, well, we're investing in sea-based mid-course. Yeah, it's a much more capable system. That said, part of the, our side of the alliance regarding Poland standing with us is like, yeah, we're going to build these radars in Poland, and it helps Polish economy. Polish economy. We should do that. That's our allies. Yeah, Obama didn't give a fuck. So all that to say, tragically, there's not like the history of Putin threatening Poland with nuclear weapons, either directly or vis-a-vis his proxies, is tragically not a one-off. As far as the EFF, which is a direct descendant of the ANC, read radical left-wing, like pro-Soviet terrorist organization that was in many ways headed up by Mandela, that fucking pig. I don't care. He's not South Africa's version of Martin Luther King at all. And their MK kinetic terrorist arm of the ANC, Mkhonto we says we, or the MK Spear of the Nation, are very much racist Afro-supremacists. They very much have a radical left-wing ideology. Their history has direct organization, operational ties with the Soviet Union's intelligence agencies, KGB and GRU, and they did indeed get training from the Soviet Union, and they have organization, operational ties with Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state and the IRGC, and to some degree the Chinese Communist Party, post-Soviet era. They are absolute bags of shit, and they are absolute racist, like racial-centered, fucking engage in racial-centered genocide, or at least would like to carry it out. And this 30th is very much a concern because of certain elements of the EFF and what they're going to kick off on the 30th. Just to let you know, my colleague asked about you. So, get back to me in PM. Hopefully I answered your questions. Oh, real quick, as a quick PS, anybody who would like to see evidence of the ANC and MK's terrorist origins background, just look up Operation Mayabuye or the Church Street bombings or any other number of fucking examples. I mean, you just shake a stick, you'll hit something.
All right, we got another super chat from Shauna saying, to be fair, I had Sam Harris derangement syndrome until recently. Oh, I would want to know what changed your opinion. That's interesting. Thank you, Shauna. Okay. Who's next?
Samantha has the next topic about limits on free speech.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, also just quickly on Sam Harris, he has called out like the left, saying that is a problem that the left just totally cannot acknowledge or have a rational conversation about, like the problems with radical Islam, and that it is a problem that the left just labels any conversation around as just, Islamophobia. But yeah, so I know you've said before that you consider yourself to be a free speech maximalist, but not a free.
So before you start, I need to tell the editor this is to because you talked about Sam Harris, so this is the place it starts. Okay, go on. Sorry. Because when we make topics, it's going to be very difficult for our editor to figure out where to start. Yeah, but go on.
So I know before you said that you consider yourself to be a free speech maximalist, but not a free speech absolutist.
Right.
If please don't get mad, but if you don't believe, like if someone were to, let's say, make a post on Twitter saying that they're going to shoot up their local elementary school, if you think the police should intervene, can you just reassure me that you think the police should intervene? And if you don't think that, can you not yell at me and explain why you think people should be allowed to say that on Twitter with no police intervention?
Okay, I think the police should intervene in that when it's a direct incitement to violence. That's a limitation of free speech. I think the police should go arrest the people who are doing that incitement to violence. And I want to clarify to our audience that the reason why Samantha is telling me not to yell at her and be angry with her is not because I'm secretly being abusive to her. Okay, it's okay. The reason is that she has trauma with the cult that she used to be in, because the way the way that you keep asking me to not be angry with you and not yell at you, people are gonna be like, "Holy shit! Like, how's Armin treating people?" Okay, I never yelled at Samantha. Okay, so okay. I mean, have I yelled at you? Like, I think I've never yelled at you.
No, but I mean, I've been yelled at by a lot of. I've been through like Maoist self-critique sessions.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure people don't think like I'm being this abusive piece of shit to you, and that's why you're so scared of me every time. Okay, so this is like not me.
I'm afraid of everyone. I am less afraid of Armin than I am the average person, but I am afraid of everyone, including Armin.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can help you recover from that trauma. Okay, but okay, what do you think about my answer? Like, that's why I call myself a free speech maximalist. I don't call myself as free speech absolutist. Though that example is one of those examples. You know, if it's a direct threat of violence, it should be illegal. Incitement to violence.
Yeah, good answer. Thank you.
Okay. Any follow-up thoughts or questions?
No.
So I can give you some other examples that I think should be illegal as a speech. So I think if somebody says like, "Hey, this cures cancer, buy it from me," and it doesn't, that should be illegal. You come in like, "Well, this is my free speech to say that." No, that's a crime. That's fraud. Fraud is a limitation to free speech. If I lie about you, okay, purposefully lie about you, and it causes damages to you, that's not a criminal violation, but that is a civil case. You should be able to sue me for damages if I purposefully lie about you, and you have material costs associated with my lie. You should be able to sue me and get compensated for that. That's another limitation, for example. Okay. Anybody else agrees or disagrees with this? Here's what I think. I think America gets it really good. Okay. I think the American standard is a really good standard for free speech. You know, so America doesn't have absolute free speech, but they have more free speech than anyone else, and I think that they got the right amount of free speech.
Okay, Jose is next.
Good to see you, Samantha. And for everybody listening in, Armin does not abuse Samantha. She's very well loved by the forum. Armin's correct. You know, threatening someone, like threatening to do a school shooting, threatening the President of the United States, anyone in Congress, threatening anyone to do bodily harm is not covered under free speech. And the other example he gave, it's just one simple word. It's called slander. And you're welcome to defend yourself all you want against slander. You know, it's not as easy to do as you might think, but it can be done. So yeah, there are obvious limits to free speech. Okay, and you're not wrong in asking. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Jose. Let's go next to Monkey.
There is also self-harm. A person that is posting about self-harm, they won't be arrested for it, but there will be an intervention just to save that life. And fraud, fraud, slander, threats, incitement to violence. Like, it's not just a threat of death; it's a threat of doing damage, damage to someone's home that could hurt the people inside. I don't want to be too specific, but you guys kind of get where I'm going with this. There's certain things that you can't call in a threat to a place, call in that kind of threat. It doesn't just have to be an individual. You could threaten a location. There's different types of threats. You can't anything that's a threat is a problem, because that you're a threat it's very, very specific, because you have to take it seriously. I also like to point out that this has changed. All right, George Carlin got arrested for speech, right?
Oh.
Speech also depends on where it is. People make the mistake and say, oh, there's free speech. There's free speech in the commons. That doesn't mean that you have free speech on somebody else's platform. It doesn't mean that you have free speech on some federal networks. It doesn't mean that you can just talk in any radio channel like CB channel. There are limits to speech, but some of them are institutional, and some of them are property-based. Property rights make it so that free speech is very, very much a thing of the commons. I can't go to Armin's house, start talking about whatever I want, start screaming, I have free speech. No, this is my property. And you can't just chimp out here. You have to have respect here. If you're chimping about the wrong thing, the right thing, I'll chimp out with you. But you can't just go crazy here, right? So you have to respect people's property. So, some people get arrested because they're having a free speech moment, but they're doing it in a gas station, they're doing it in a restaurant, they're doing it in the wrong place. So there is a matter of where free speech happens, because just because you can't go into some places, and especially private places, and just declare no, I have free speech, I can do whatever I want. There is limits on that, and there's nuance, and that nuance, and being able to discuss that nuance and the changing nature of it is one of the things that makes America a great place. Because during the time of the founding fathers, some of the things that you can say now will get you arrested. So that goes a lot into case precedent. And I'm no expert on the law. I would leave this to more of a legal scholar, a constitutional scholar, to speak on this. But there's nuances to this. But you don't have free speech. Like sometimes when we're here on YouTube, we're gonna think, oh, I can say whatever I want. No, you can't, because YouTube is not the commons. So we have to be careful.
Right. Thank you, Monkey. Nail Bunny is next to respond.
Yeah, that's not exactly what you put in the chat, Samantha. You didn't say intervene, and you didn't say it was a specific threat. Okay, so you're being a bit disingenuous with this. So you said that they were talking about shooting up a school. They should be in jail. They should be thrown in prison for that. That's what you wrote. And I said, no, that isn't enough. That's not incitement. It isn't. Sorry, that's not the definition of incitement. But saying you're going to specifically do something, yeah, the police should probably intervene with that by going and finding out who you are and questioning you. Very different from a woman saying something, it wasn't incitement, and being actually thrown in prison. So please be honest, okay? And I do know that was directed at me, and I think you're quite vindictive, actually.
Okay. Armin has another response.
Yeah. So free speech, like what Monkey, again, I have to learn saying Monkey, not Sketch. Okay. But Monkey saying reminded me of also mentioning to people that free speech does not mean that you have the right to an audience. Okay. A lot of people think free speech means that they should be able to have access to other people's audiences. Like I should, oh, you're not inviting me to this platform for me to be able to talk to them. That's a violation of my free speech. It's not. You get to say it, whatever, in other places, as long as it's not someone's private property that they disagree with you, they don't want you to say. You could say it in many. There are many. You don't have a right to a platform, and you don't have a right to an audience. A lot of people confuse freedom of speech with right to an audience and a right to a platform. I have my freedom of speech, so I should be able to say it on your platform. No, this is my platform. You don't get to decide what gets said on my platform. I have free speech, then you should give me access to this audience so that they hear what I have to say. No, I created this audience. I brought this audience here. It's my audience. You don't get to have access to them just because you have free speech. Private property, like Monkey was talking about. Private property, if it's someone's private property, they have their own rules in that private property. We're talking about government rules. Okay, government rules does not say that my private property, like if you want to come and read the Communist Manifesto for bedtime to my kids before they go to sleep, I get to say, no, please leave my house. And if you don't, then I could, I don't know, contact the cops to come take you out, right? Also, free speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences, all consequences of speech. It only means freedom from legal and government consequences, right? So freedom of speech means that when I say something, these things won't happen. These things shouldn't happen. It means that I shouldn't get arrested. I shouldn't get killed by the government. I shouldn't get tortured by the government. I shouldn't get fined by the government. And I shouldn't lose my protection or rights because of what I'm saying from the government. It's all about the government. Freedom of speech doesn't mean that I shouldn't get fired for what I say. Okay, because if you say something and your employer doesn't like it, them firing you is also their freedom of expression. Because you might say something and your employer might be like, well, I don't like somebody who has this opinion working for me. So they could fire you for that. That if they fire you for what you're saying, that's not a violation of your freedom of speech. Just wanted to add all of that. Okay.
Okay, I think that's it for the responses. Do we have any super chats?
Yeah, no super chats.
No super chats. Then let's go to the next topic by Jose about Antifa.
Okay. I think it was yesterday when the verdict came out. There's a total of 20 plus individuals that were arrested on terrorism charges that were members of Antifa in Texas. They literally threw firecrackers at an ICE location to lure the ICE people out, and then they started shooting at them. It didn't go well for them. They weren't very good shots. They only hit one officer, and he was injured, winged more than anything else, and not even hurt. But they were prosecuted. 9 were prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Combined, they had 450 years of jail time. The leader, 100 years. The least, 30 years of jail time, for 450 total years. The others, it's unsure from what I heard whether or not they were cooperative, pointed out who the leader was, that kind of stuff, but their cases haven't come up yet. But it's the first time ever that an Antifa arrest has led to A, charges of terrorism, B, a conviction, and a rather quick conviction. This didn't take 5 years to get there. This is quick, which means the other Antifa arrests that have now happened, and I believe one was in Chicago, and I can't remember where the other one was. Now they got to look at it, and they have to understand that this shit's, that they're going to have problems. They're not just going to get away with coming out on the streets and do what they want just because they get paid. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention.
Ooh, interesting.
Monkey has a response on this.
I would like to point out that Antifa is one of the organizations that should be a focus on ties and funding. A lot of these Antifa type groups show up at protests. A lot of these protests are tied to Code Pink. I bet it's not hard to tie Code Pink to tie code pink to some of these Antifa terrorists. And I bet there is an overlap, an abundance, an overwhelming abundance of funding towards Antifa groups that is coming from these foreign NGOs, from these university funds, from these outside entities that are funding this basically Antifa terrorism. We call it. It was designated like a local terrorist group, like an American terrorist group. It should have been international. I don't know if they did the international thing, but they should do it. They should just designate it because it gives them a lot more leeway when it comes. It means the CIA can look at them, right? It's not just the FBI. When it's local, it's the FBI, and they have a lot of limits. But when it's international, if these are getting funded from the outside, that opens up a lot of space for discovery. It opens a lot of, basically investigations into forensic accounting. And going into these people's funds and going into these people's communications to see how well they're tied between these, green or, black and red movements, between, Hamas support and university funding and Antifa terrorists. Like, how are all these things tied together? I bet it's in the money.
Okay, thank you, Monkey. I think we don't have any other twos. Let's go to super chats.
Okay, we got 2 super chats. Casey, thank you so much. Saying new Colombia president is opening an embassy in Jerusalem. Is that so? Because didn't the outgoing president of Colombia say Heil Hitler? What a big what a big 180. So outgoing leftist presidents, yeah, that's right. I got that right. The Gustavo Petro, they shocked the world by tweeting Heil Hitler in response to a politician who was pro-Israel. So it was like anti-Jewish comment. Unbelievable. So that was the outgoing one. The new one, the right-wing president coming in. So his name is Abel. I don't know how to pronounce any of that. I'm not going to even try. His nickname is the Tiger, which is a lot easier. Okay. He won Colombia's president runoff election by razor-thin margin. He will officially take office on August 7th. So that's good. So during his administration, Petro had completely, so Petro is short for his name, completely severed, the last one, sorry, this last was severed diplomatic relationship with Israel. But this guy is not only fixing it, reversing that, but he's also moving. The new president-elect has officially pledged to rebuild Colombia's strategic alliance with Israel and open a Colombian embassy in Jerusalem, moving it from Tel Aviv. That's great news. So see, guys, not everyone, not every country in the world is turning against Israel. Some of them are actually moving closer to Israel. That's good news. Yeah, that's great news to hear. So thank you, Casey. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that with us. We need good news like that. And then we got another super chat from Alexia. Thank you so much, Alexia, which I think she's also here somewhere in the discussion group. No, she left. Alexia saying, no super chats? ? Here's one. Much love to you all. Thank you, Alexia, and Hava Todaram, as you usually say. Thank you. And okay, so by the way, if we do have ones in the chat, Danny, you could remove my one if there are already other people wanting to speak. So who's next?
The only other person is Sketch, who just put a 1 right now.
Yeah, let's go with that then.
Okay, it is about right-wing gains in Central and South America.
Ooh, okay. Relevant to what we just read.
Yes, in honor of the chatters, chatters, you matter. Super chats are a great thing. Yes, we're seeing gains in Argentina with Malay, and Ecuador with Daniel Noboa, Panama, Raúl Molino, Bolivia, Rodrigo Paz, in Chile, José Antonio Cast, Honduras, Nasri Asfura, in Costa Rica, Laura Fernández Delgado, Peru, Peru is surprising. Keiko Fujimori, this is, I believe this was recent. This is like 2026. Colombia, Abelardo de la Espriella. And there's some gains, like they haven't been completely, they haven't, completely gone that way, but there's some gains in El Salvador. And El Salvador is looking good. There's still some resistance in Mexico. They have Claudia Sheinbaum and Lula, but things are looking up. I think that the right wing is gaining a foothold. I think that a strong reason for this is Bukele and Milei. Bukele has pacified what was one of the most dangerous places on earth. And Milei has done something for the Argentine economy that was, thought impossible in a short amount of time. This is also a strong support of the Shield of the Americas plan. All these people are trying to join the Shield of the Americas. This is another reason why Marco Rubio is important, because when he goes to these countries, he's a very high official in the government that can speak to them in their language, which is something that is underestimated because of, Latin culture. It's not interchangeable, but, it mixes well. Understand what I mean? Like a Mexican culture, Cuban culture, Puerto Rican culture, it's not the same, but we kind of understand each other a little bit. So this is very good. The ones who are still left, I think they're going to lose ground because there's the side that Milei is showing. Bukele is more about the security side, the example, I mean. What Milei is showing is a lot to do with friendshoring and onshoring with American companies. And that means rare earth minerals, energy. That takes a lot of power away from China and the dictatorial blocs and gives a lot of power to the more private property minded, democratic governments of not Democrats, democratic governments of the West, Western style economies over command economies. This is gaining a lot of popularity. Rule of law over class systems is gaining more popularity. And I just wanted to open that up for discussion for everybody in honor of the super chatter. Thanks for your super chat.
That was a lot of great information.
Thank you.
You know your stuff.
Jose is first to respond.
Okay. There's an interesting parallel between Argentina and Iran. Milei took over an economy that was not that far off, not in the thousands, but in the 500 to 1 on the US dollars. So it really destroyed economy. And he did it all by himself with a little help from Trump, because he had started before Trump was reelected. He's very, very interesting. I think he's kind of the emotional leader of that group. Venezuela is not officially changed yet because they haven't elected anyone yet. So we can't count that. But if you look at the map of South America, Colombia, all the way across to the Panama Canal, and then all the way down to you get to Argentina, is all blue. Blue for right wing, red for communism. And where you have the socialist powers, the biggest chunk is of Brazil. But that's because of the Amazon, which is a very uninhabited area. And then there's some other states along the Caribbean and the Atlantic coast that are also, they have elections next year. So things can change. There's Fujimori, Monkey, I can confirm, is the elected official now. The challenge has stopped because she told the guy that was challenging her, saying, that's too few votes. We have to recount again. Yeah, well, you didn't allow me to recount it. The last 3 times we had elections, I was running and I lost by lesser votes than that. And that pretty much told the rest of the people of Peru came up and told him to shut the up. So it's very interesting what's happening down there. And yeah, most of these countries, the help that they want from the United States is getting rid of the cartels.
Thank you, Jose. Yuval next.
One question.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, can you hear me? One fun fact and one question for Jose, maybe. So the fun fact is about Bukele, the right-wing, I guess, pro-Israeli guy who also did a good work against the crime. The guy is actually of Palestinian descent. His family is originally from Bethlehem and Jerusalem. Just so people know, that's an ironic twist of history, I guess. A question for Jose. Is it your impression that right-wing governments are more bent on fighting the cartels?
It apparently seems to be the case, because the socialist countries are run by strongmen and they use the cartels to control their people. What the right-wing governments are doing is telling the people in those countries, I'm here for you, not the cartels. So they're in danger of being assassinated by the cartels, frankly. We'll see what happens. But it's one of those things where it's not a right or left thing, Evo. It's are you for the people? Do you want the people to have a life, to get an education, to be able to feed themselves, to build their economies, or do you want them slaves to the cartels? If you are on the other side, okay, the socialist communist side, you're on the side of enslavement. You're on the side of making them work for you, not letting them create for themselves, not letting them grow for themselves. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. And then next I have Armin.
Neil Bunny could go first and then I'll go after.
Okay, then Neil Bunny.
I wanted to ask, actually, Monkey or Jose, what you think about Brazil, because their election is in October. What are your thoughts? Because the challenger, basically the right-wing challenger is Bolsonaro's son, who is a senator.
Honestly, I haven't heard of that contest too much. It hasn't popped up in any of my feeds. Is he the one that came to the United States and asked for assistance from Trump? Because if it's that one there, he has a pretty good chance.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bolsonaro was president between 2019 and 2023, and so
Yeah.
now his son is a senator who's challenging. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's challenging him in the October presidential election.
So yeah, it's he has a good chance then, because they also have the drug problem there as far as the cartels. So if that goes and South America turns in their own terms blue, okay, all the way across, you're going to have Mexico squeezed in between the two, and they're going to have to make a decision as to how long those cartels are going to last. Of course, it could also push all the cartels into Mexico too, which makes Mexico a very dangerous country to live in. So it all depends. It all depends on what happens and how they're handled.
I can say that Lula has around 40% and Bolsonaro, between 40 and 42, and Bolsonaro has, around 36%. So this is not decided. This is very much a possibility, especially because these things tend to underreport the right and overreport the left. Like it's very common in these stats. So I wouldn't be surprised. Also, during the time of Bolsonaro, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the one that was for Second Amendment type things, so that people could defend themselves from the criminal element there. because, around there, the only people that were allowed to have guns were the people who didn't care about the law. And that created a very, very, very strong cartel. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is also the guy that went into the favelas, which is like the ghetto, basically, the barrio, the trailer park, whatever you want to call it, like the bad areas, and had a hard hand. And what this tells me is, look, if you like what Bukele did, and Bolsonaro was Bolsonaro Sr. had that mentality and actually did those kinds of actions, I wouldn't put it at, I'm like 50-50, but it could go red. It could go red.
Okay, Armin is next.
I had a question. So with regards to Marco Rubio and his ability to connect with all of the leaders of these countries, especially now that they're more right-leaning, would you say that America's movement towards, I don't know, the Monroe or Redundro doctrine, and focusing more on its own hemisphere, would be, the fact that Marco Rubio's ability and knowledge and connection? I think the answer is an obvious yes, but I just wanted to hear you guys, would that really help United States? Because I think United States under any president is like moving more into this direction to focus more on their hemisphere. Wouldn't that mean that Marco Rubio would be ideal for this transition because of, the requirements of maintaining a relationship with all the countries in the Western Hemisphere? How influential is that?
Okay, I'll answer that one first, and then Monkey can add to it. When he was talking about the combination of all Latin American countries, is because we are educated in Castellano, which is the main language of Central Spain. That's all the education systems in all of South America and Central America and in the Caribbean for Spanish speakers have. Yes, when the people saw what was done in Venezuela, okay, immediately all the left-wing governments started beefing up their guards, extra training, giving them more ammunition and stuff because they thought they were next. And you started seeing people from within the governments or lower in the governments asking the United States for help to get rid of the narcos. Then you had Cuba, because once Venezuela was taken out, Cuba was made impotent without the oil, and they're still having problems to this day. And that plan that Cuba released, that's a joke. They've done it before, and there's a French multimillionaire that became a pauper because he decided to open a couple of restaurant chains there, and the Cuban government made him pay for everything and kept all the profit. That's how Gaesa was born. So nobody believes it's going to work if they try it again. Then you got the fact that Rubio is a Castellano. He speaks Castellano. So with the educated class, he speaks their tongue. Because there's a lot of differences with all the different dialects of Spanish in South and Central America. Okay? But Castellano is what the educated people are taught. Sketch, all yours.
All right. There's a couple of factors here. One is the loss of USAID. It was discovered that USAID was funding a lot of leftist organizations in these, just like the NGOs from China were funding a whole bunch of universities here. The USA and was funneling a lot of this, well, to the Democrat, but also it was funneling a lot of stuff into South America. The loss of USA was an economic disaster for the left wing in Central and South America. This is like it's talked about in Central and South America. Like this is something that's known because they were paying for all kinds of LGBTQ stuff. Like racial oppression, class type stuff. And it turned a lot of these governments, you didn't really have to do a lot to get the funding. It was basically embezzling, and it was like learning centers, that type of thing. Well, but it was going all into leftist people and leftist government, and they had their own little circle thing going around, right? That was a great help. And also, you have to understand that if I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go against the narcos, but I need USA intel and support so that I don't get whacked by these guys, because these guys will kill me. Like I'll turn to you, because you know what? These companies from China, they were taking our resources and giving us practically nothing for it. These companies in Russia, China, all these, we were offshoring all our and friendshoring to the communist bloc, and all they did was steal. We might as well do it with the Americans, because we get more benefits, we get a better cut, we get a better system, we get stuff that actually works. We don't have tofu drag construction. There's a lot of tofu drag construction in South America. They did it a lot in Africa, but they also did it a lot in Latin America. There was ports that were built by China that are terrible. And that's why the Belt and Road Initiative from China is failing in a lot of places. It's also failing all over South America. It's not just the cartels. That's a big part, though. It's not just the economics. That's a big part, though. It's also the resources and the USA side, and being able to have America help you protect yourself from the cartel, because there's only like you don't want to be the world police, but you can't have cartels turning your southern hemisphere into a narco state, especially if it's a narco state that's basically under the control of the communist bloc. So there's multiple layers to this, but all this is leading to most of South America turning what we call red pill or like blue. Like they call red communist there. We call red pill, like we call the red pill here, but basically going against communism and towards free market.
All right, guys. So I need to go. So I'm just going to read. I know you guys could continue the conversation after me. So just going to read the super chat, and then you guys could keep talking about this, because I know you all wants to speak as well. But I need to go. Hezi with a super chat saying, "I just realized both Israel and the Islamic Republic, or both Israel and the Islamic Republic, the role of the president is symbolic and powerless." Well, the difference is that the president in Israel is supposed to be symbolic based on the constitution, but within the Islamic Republic, the constitution says that the president has a lot of powers, and he doesn't. And also, in Israel, it's not completely symbolic. I know the president has some abilities, right? Yeah. And also within the Islamic Republic, the president is supposed to be the head of the executive branch. So he's supposed to have executive power. But within Israel, the prime minister is the head of the executive branch. So that role is for the prime minister. But yeah, interesting thought though, Ezzy. Thank you for the super chat. All right, guys, I'm out, and I'll see you guys same time. Well, on YouTube, I see you guys in half an hour. And people in our group call, I'll see you guys same time tomorrow. And until then, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukraine, Cuba Libre, Long live America, Javicha Payende, Iran. Mwah. See you guys soon.